Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video, the 2021 NFL Mock Draft Round 1 with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. So I got to get everything situated and set up here with the chat as well. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. And I thought this would be something that we could do together for fun. Obviously, it's not going to allow me to go over all the different trade options that are going to be available because, of course, I'm going to be able to do some trades. And I know, the lineups aren't going to be exactly the way that they're going to play out. No one is ever going to be fully correct, with the lineups and how things are going to be. Del Diaz in the building. Shrikar in the building. We in the house, baby. And Nola in the building. I just was going to message you to let you know that I am in the building, all right? And I don't usually do a setup like this. I mean, I have different green screens and options. Odin Child, bang, $10, getting it started. But I figured, you know what? I saw this on NFL.com, right? Predict Pick. And I thought this would be a cool way for us to go over our picks together. And it gives you kind of the bios of the guys. And then it gives us a draft card grade. So we can get a little bit of a grade as I'm getting a call from a spam caller on my caller ID. Am I answering that? No. I'm doing fucking NFL Mock Draft 2021 Northwest Sports Fanatic style. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day, and hopefully we'll get a few people to hop in and we can go over some of the picks and we can go over it together. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday. We're getting closer and closer. We're about a week away, about 7-8 days away from the NFL draft, so I'm very, very excited. Hope everyone is having, the best day that they possibly can have. And like I said, I thought this would be kind of a fun idea. And I'll probably do more than one of these before we get to that point. But I thought, okay, this is kind of cool. Let me set up the background like this, and we can kind of go over our input. So I want everyone in the chat to be very active. I want you guys to show me your input. Be very, very active in the stream today. I would greatly appreciate it because I know some of your picks might not be the same as mine. And there's going to be a lot of different moves, all right? A lot of surprises. And it doesn't matter if you're a Kuiper fan or a McShay fan or if you like guys on Good Morning Football like Peter Schrager. I listen to Pat McAfee show every fucking Monday through Friday. And they actually had Peter Schrager from Good Morning Football on there. And I thought it was very exciting to kind of hear his upbringing and what he used to do on Sleep on Couches, met up with Sean McVay, during like Senior Bowl, got drunk with them. And he really put in a lot of time and effort for being a guy that is not necessarily a former player, but you can kind of get the insight because he's got a lot of connections and a lot of his mock drafts end up being pretty similar, just like a few other people out there on different networks. Some of them are completely right. I think McShay and Kuiper are usually pretty fucking wrong. As we know, John Gruden stole away one of the guys that might have been one of the best at mock drafts on NFL Network, if you know who I'm talking about. I absolutely love what he's been able to do with the Raiders and obviously his mock drafting. But I figured this would be a cool way for us to go over if we agree or disagree, and we can kind of go over some options. Now, I did the Kyle Pitts video, and like I said, with that video, he is the best player in this NFL draft, period. Hands down, all right? Hands down, the best player in this draft, besides my boy, Penei Sewell from the Oregon Ducks. This guy's got a lot of skills and a lot of talent, and I could see, Kyle Pitts being a Hall of Famer. Let's not, say, Ryan, slow your roll. They haven't even played in the NFL yet. Yeah, fuck, I know, all right? But Penei Sewell's got all the skills to be the next big thing at left tackle or right tackle, depending on the team that he goes to. And I think Kyle Pitts has the ability, year motherfucking one, all right, that he could be as good as a George Kittle, a Travis Kelce, as good as any of these other guys. Cash out hybrid in the building. And like I said, I'll probably do a couple of these before we end up actually going live on the live stream for the 2021 NFL mock draft. No, the real deal Holyfield, the actual NFL draft. I'll be doing a live stream for day 1, probably day 2, maybe day 3 if I have the ability to do it. Let's just acknowledge everybody in the room because that's what I love to do. I worked a long day today. The feet still hurt, but, I'm always putting in time. I'm always putting in the grind. And like I said, I'm never, ever going to quit. And I thought that this is a pretty cool backdrop. So that way we can kind of go over what you see, I see. So we can go over this fucking together. Del Diaz in the building. What to do? Shrikar in the building. He said, we in the house. Official Young Nola. Nola in the building. Make sure you go to his SoundCloud. Official Young Nola. He's doing big things like your boy. Odin Child Bang. Chiefs Kingdom in the building, $10. He said, boy, I'm excited for the draft. Official Young Nola. And I think the Saints fan base should be excited. But not only that, Tampa Bay, the Panthers, the Falcons, there's going to be a lot of us that are going to be very, very excited in this NFL draft because a lot of unknowns. A lot of guys are not going to be there next year. All right, you got to think like Marshawn Lattimore, they might not be able to afford him. So as we know with all the NFL heads, Nola, they're telling you, yeah, they're looking at corner. Well, no shit. If you actually know your team and you go over your needs and going over the pieces that you need, on your roster, the secondary has been shaken up a little bit. The D-line's been shaken up. You need a little bit more depth at linebacker. You need a wide receiver to pair up with Michael Thomas, AK 41. He's good to go there. But there's other weapons, another tight end. So I'm excited to see where it goes also for the Saints, the Panthers, the Falcons, and obviously my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm trying to go for 2, and that's big fact. Shrikar says, hell yeah. Bird gang, 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 gang. Hey, what to do? Cash Out Hybrid, one of the best fans in the building, always in the building. Sarah Small in the building. She said, how are you? Go Colts. Absolutely. Love Pat McAfee show, and I really encourage y'all, if you guys want something to watch, if I entertain the hell out of you, and you guys are part of the Fanatic family, watch Good Morning Football. You can watch it on YouTube. There'll be someone that's streaming it overseas, or watch it, on TV. I encourage you to watch Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, Nate Burleson, Kay Adams, the best in the business on NFL Network. And then if you're wanting to watch something a little bit more raw and real, Pat McAfee Show. Now, these guys are going to give you all the information, and I'll be very honest. Those are the only 2 programs that I watch religiously besides the Northwest Sports Fanatics show itself on YouTube. I watch, obviously, my breakdowns. I go over all the different material that I've done. I'm doing a lot of reading and research and film study. But Pat McAfee Show, Good Morning Football, the only ones I watch. I encourage you guys, if you want to get on my level as well as some of the other Fanatic family members, to really get that knowledge deep in your brain, watch those 2 shows, and you'll definitely get smarter and smarter, not only during football season, but in the off season like we are right now as well. Bird Gang, 114. Panthers get Pitts, Eagles get Horn. It'll be interesting to see where they go. There's going to be a lot of different moves. There's going to be a lot of shakeups. This simulator does not let me do trades. So we're just going to talk about it, before I pick who I think is the best player at that spot. This is what I would do, all right? Northwest Sports Fanatics, Orion, Mikulek, the GM, all right? This is what I would do. All right? Not necessarily saying this is what's going to happen in the 2021 NFL draft, because obviously 1 or 2 trades up or trade backs, it's going to fuck up the whole rotation where one guy is going to be available, right? And then another guy's not going to be there. So we're never really going to know where it goes. As I get another fucking spam call, get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to do a goddamn live stream. Get off my fucking phone. So are you guys ready? I hope everyone is having a great Thursday. Friday's right around the corner. Your boy is excited for the NFL draft. NFL Chain Gang in the building. Let's get it started off. And obviously this is a no-brainer. So we're going to do this together. And I want you guys' input, because this is the reason why I did this. I could have just did my whole upload and not had you guys being involved in this process, right? But not only do I want to be able to go over the picks and the strengths and the weaknesses and why I think this is going to be a good fit, but I wanted to be able to do this with y'all, because you guys are just as big a part of this channel than me, all right? Obviously, I have the passion, the grind, and I'm going to be putting in all the hard work, but without you guys, the best fans on planet Earth, the Fanatic family, all right? All right, without you guys, I'm not going to be able to get to 20K, 30K, 50K, 100K, 3.3 million views to 4 million to 5 million to 10 million, because your boy's going to get there, all right? And I really, really, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of y'all. You guys recognize the hard work, the passion, the energy, the dedication, the film study, the reading, and especially the most important part, me being real and me not being biased. And that's something that's refreshing from an NFL perspective, because I know you see a lot of this shit on podcasts and TV. It's fucking absolute dog shit and garbage, all right? And I want to just say thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys make me get up in the morning, even when I'm tired and I've worked an 8 or 9 hour day. I'm still putting work on the fucking channel, because you guys are the best fucking fans on planet Earth, and we're going up, baby. We are going up. Up, up, up. You better feel me. All right, message from an Eagle. What up, Orion? NWSF, fly, Eagles fly. What to do? Seth Werner in the building. Say, yo, what up, guys? My QB1, Justin, better be in the top 3. All right, so let's go over these picks, and it looks like they're going to do a draft grade on here as well. But no matter what grade they give, A, B, C, it's not necessarily going to be the correct NFL draft because there's going to be teams, right? There's going to be teams that jump up that we're not assuming are going to, jump up. Or maybe someone's sitting there and they're like, oh shit, Justin Fields is still there. Or oh shit, Trey Lance is there. And then you get a team like the Patriots or the Broncos that shoot all the way up and you're like, oh wow, you know what I mean? But we can at least talk about it here. So the first pick from the Jacksonville Jags, obviously this is a no-brainer. Let me see if it allows me to add this to the slot. Hopefully I don't have to log in because I didn't try it beforehand. But let's see if I can add him to the slot. I hope it lets me. All right, perfect. It let me do it. Bang! Right there. And the number 1 pick from the Jacksonville Jags, Urban Meyer and O-Dog select, and the Fanatic family, Trevor Lawrence. Clemson quarterback. We already know he's going to be doing big things. He's kind of the safest pick in the NFL draft. Now, is it possible that Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, possibly could be better than Trevor Lawrence? Absolutely. I don't think there's really a full guarantee on any of the quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence could be great. He could be a Pro Bowler. Trevor Lawrence could be a bust. He could end up being maybe a Carson Wentz. I don't want to say the B word around him because he's in the Indianapolis and he might be able to get his career turned around. Jared Goff in the Goffense, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston. Sometimes initially it looks amazing, right? We're like, yeah, this guy's going to fucking pan out. I never was sold on Jameis Winston. I'm sold on Trevor Lawrence being Joe Burrow. So if you guys believe in Joe Burrow, which I do, then Trevor Lawrence can be that guy. Now, obviously, you got offensive line issues. You got, running back, tight end, wide receiver issues. Yeah, DJ Shark is pretty nice at the wide receiver position. The running back situation is pretty good in Jacksonville, as we saw, right? But on the defense, they have a lot of holes. This isn't the same team with Blake Bortles, right? With Bouye and Calais Campbell and Jalen Ramsey. So it's going to take time. They're not going to be able to make the playoffs year 1, right? But depending on how they draft and if Urban Meyer can build the culture, this could be a team that makes a wild card in a couple years. Houston Texans, dumpster fire. I assume that the Colts and the Titans are going to run away with the AFC South. All right, they're going to run away with it, but it's going to be exciting that now the Jags and the Jets, you're going to want to watch them. For me, like every other, fan that's out there, some people are going to be interested in, seeing Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields and the development. But some of you guys only care about your teams, right? You don't give a shit about these other teams, but I know a lot of y'all do, like me. Like, I don't give a shit who's on. The Jets and the Jags could be playing regardless if they have Lawrence or Wilson or Fields. I'm still watching, just like last year and the year before, because I absolutely love this game called the NFL. I love college football. I love NFL. I love wrestling, AEW, WWE, even though it's kind of trashy nowadays. I like AEW a little bit more, but that is my shit, all right? So number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence. He's going to have an upside to kind of like a Joe Burrow. Will he be, a top 10 quarterback, in this league? He should be. You know what I mean? Is he going to be Peyton Manning? Is he going to be Andrew Luck? Is he going to be somewhere in between? Is there a bust factor? Possibly. But I feel confident that he should be able to pan out based on him playing against good competition. All right, him being able to, come up big in most of the games, except for kind of the bowl games and the natties where he came up a little short. But he's got all the mechanics to be a stud in the NFL and a top 12 quarterback in this league. I definitely think that there's room for him to go up from maybe 6 to 12. I don't know if he's ever going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. I mean, when you got Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes and Sean Watson, guy like Justin Herbert, like my boy, who I think is going to be a top 5 quarterback next year, and I think he's already top 10, all right? But Zach Wilson, all right, we might pick him. Maybe we'll go to someone else. We can go through some of these names. You got Trey Lance. We can click on him. Obviously with the Jets. Let's see if it lets me. There we go. We got Trey Lance. All right, and then you got another guy. Here we go. Justin Fields. We talk about him. And then we got another guy named Mac Jones. So, I mean, there's a lot of different options there. But obviously, as we're going over the tape, Trevor Lawrence, to me, all right, is Joe Burrow. If you love that, then you're going to be good to go. Zach Wilson, to me, has the highest ceiling. He's the Justin Herbert in this draft. Everyone told me Burrow was better. Tua was better. And it's easy to say that because what? Tua went to Alabama, came in off the bench, ended up getting that Hail Mary, getting a natty, being the man, right? But he had injury issues, but he went to Alabama, right? So we know that he is legitimate. It's not just the guys around him. He's a lefty. He's smooth. He's supposed to be the next Michael Vick, right? But he hasn't really proved it just yet. And Miami is probably doubting themselves right now, right, that they probably should have picked Justin Herbert, especially based on how he played last season. And then Joe Burrow, without the ACL, MCL, PCL, the explosion of his knee, all right, this guy would have been in the running with Justin Jefferson, wide receiver stud from LSU on the Vikings with Kirk Cousins, and Justin Herbert, my boy, from the Oregon Ducks. So even though Oregon Ducks isn't a prime program just yet, Mario Cristobal, he went to the U, he played with The Rock, all right, he definitely recruits well. So we are going to be getting to a point where Oregon should be catching up to Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and these bigger schools, Georgia. But we're not there yet. And, you can't blame us. We're going to be able to get to like a Rose Bowl and win. But as far as competing with Big Ten talent, Ohio State, SEC talent, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, we're not there yet. All right. But with that being said, Calvin Griffin in the building, I see you. Lenny D will probably be in the building here and there. He'll pull up once he starts seeing this, hopefully. But number one pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence. Oh, you got your hoodie? Hell yeah. How does it fit? Do you like it? I made the writing, the NWSF, a little bit bigger on the hoodie. Got the white drawstring, so it's essentially the same type of thing, but just with a little bit bigger of a logo. I hope you love it. Thank you for the support, Calvin Griffin. He might be a Saints guy. He might be an Alabama Crimson Tide guy. Roll Tide! But I really respect the hell out of a lot of the Saints fans and all the fans across, the world that support your boy, NWSF for life, all right? NWSF chain gang for life. So I don't think we have anything to really argue about. Trevor Lawrence, your friend snatched it as soon as she saw it, so I'm going to have to get another one. Oh, baby. They're popular. And I made them affordable, too. $34.99, cheap plug if you end up wanting to get a hoodie and represent your boy and the Northwest Sports Fanatics, all right? So, number one pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Urban Meyer and Orion, O-Dog, the GM running in, Trevor Lawrence, because that's the safest pick. Now, you could pick Zach Wilson, right, at number one, but they've already invested in Trevor. This is the safe pick. If you're Urban Meyer, you don't want to get fired, right, for making the wrong pick, but can you really pick the wrong guy between Lawrence or Wilson or Fields? It seems like all these guys could pan out. The question marks are Trey Lance and Mac Jones. Mac Jones, it has to be the right team. All right? Trey Lance, is unproven. He doesn't have the throws. So we're hoping that he's going to be good, but it might end up being kind of a situation like Mitchell Trubisky, where, that someone traded up and they could have had Deshaun Watson. They could have had Patrick Mahomes. It's all about coaching and supporting cast, but it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. All right, so the number two pick, everyone in the media, and make sure you smash the fucking like button if you guys haven't yet. If you guys like this format, maybe I'll do a similar format like this for certain live streams during the football season. Obviously mock drafts and other things, but if you haven't smashed the fucking like button, please do. Support your boy, all right? I'm always trying to mix it up with the green screen and, make sure that I show acknowledgement to the fans because I love you guys. And like I said, thank you for the donation. $10, my boy, Odin's Child. So number two, the New York Football Jets, Jets, Roll Tide, Calvin Griffin says. Now, everyone in the media, it's pretty much said Zach Wilson, right? But what happens if they really love Justin Fields? It could be one or two of those guys. I don't think Trey Lance is in the running at 2, and I don't think Mac Jones is in the running, right? But what if someone trades up to the Jets and gives them an offer too good to pass up, a.k.a. the Denver Broncos, a.k.a. the Chicago Bears? Yeah, I know they did it once with Mitchell Trubisky trading up to 2, right? But if you could get Zach Wilson on the Bears, or if you get Zach Wilson on the Broncos, that might be a better situation than Zach Wilson on the Jets, all right? Or maybe they surprise everybody, right? And they go for Justin Fields. It's very fucking possible that maybe they like Justin Fields and they're just kind of keeping it quiet. It's kind of like when Baker Mayfield went number 1. We thought it was Sam Darnold. I mean, we were kind of thinking, okay, Sam Darnold won, and then you had all these other picks there, like, okay, who's going where after that? And then, obviously, Baker went number 1, then Darnold went a little bit after, then you had Josh Allen, which is kind of the project guy, and then Lamar
All right, Action Jackson. And then the further down you slide in the draft, you're going to a better team. Obviously, if you get drafted 1, 2, 3, 4, the teams are shitty, so it's going to take time. But right now, if you're looking at Robert Saleh, I follow the 49ers very closely. And he really made that defense. He was the heart and soul of that team, all right? So with the Jets, no matter what kind of capital that they get, I can't see them trading out of this pick, right? And if you get Zach Wilson, maybe pair him up with ETN from Clemson or maybe a Najee Harris, you can have some nice pieces there, all right? You still have Jamison Crowder on one side. You signed Corey Davis in free agency, all right? So now you got some weapons on the outside, maybe not the greatest, but two, maybe top 50 wide receivers. You got two guys. Corey Davis is probably, top 20, top 15. Jamison Crowder, when healthy, if you play fantasy football, usually pretty good. He gets a lot of targets, right? But they still need more on the offensive line, a lot more help on the defense. It's a project pick, but you got to go with the most logical pick. Arguably the best quarterback in this draft, better than Trevor Lawrence, higher ceiling, just like my boy Justin Herbert, all right? Because everyone thought Tua was better. Everything thought Joe Burrow was better, Tua was better, all right? But Burrow is Trevor Lawrence, the safe pick, which is still good, right? But Zach Wilson, he's the Justin Herbert in this draft, and I think we got to add him. The New York Football Jets are on the clock, Jets, Jets, and they finally get their, not Mr. Butt Fumble Mark Sanchez, they get their guy of the future, but it's going to take time. At number 2, Robert Saleh and Orion select Zach Wilson. You got to go Zach Wilson at 2. That's the most logical pick. You have to go there, and I think there's a chance that Zach Wilson could have a better career than Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence's team right now and the supporting cast is better, but give the Jets some time, and if they can get some weapons, maybe he can catch up on that ladder. But I think Zach Wilson is one of those guys, he reminds me a little of Aaron Rodgers, a little Patrick Mahomes, so you get a little bit of that feel with those guys. And I hope both of those guys pan out like Burrow and Justin Herbert, because we need new superstars for the league. Breeze is gone, all right? We know Roethlisberger's on the way out. Brady will be eventually on his way out. So we have a lot of these guys. Phillip Rivers is already out, all right? I need to see the new blood and the new generation really do something special, okay? Now, this is where it gets tricky, all right? I did the Kyle Pitts video, all right? Kittles and Pitts, right? Like the playoff of kibbles and bits, all right? And I know you drafted all, in the past, different positions that you needed. It was based off need. You don't give up all these first rounders for a tight end, do you? And I don't think anyone is really talking about it. A lot of people are talking about the Trey Lance, right? They're talking about Justin Fields. But a lot of people right now are talking about this man right here. They're talking about maybe the guy that has the best fit. They're talking about who? See if I can get to him. Mac Jones. All right, they're talking about him and what he could do. But what if we get a big surprise, right? And if we end up getting something like Kyle Pitts. What happens if Kyle Pitts ends up going at 3? You know what I mean? And the thing is, Shrikar, you don't trade all that capital for Mac Jones. Shanahan's openly said he wants the most elite talent at QB, and that's Fields 100%. And the thing is, Mac Jones could be the system guy. And if anyone can make, someone get the most out of their abilities, it's Kyle Shanahan. So you got to think, if he likes Mac Jones the best, that might be the guy. If he likes Justin Fields the best, or he wants to take a chance in a home run swing at a Trey Lance. But if you go for the best player available, right, it's the San Francisco 49ers in Kyle Pitts and the tight end position. You got George Kittle, who's ranked number 1, number 2, right? Travis Kelce 1, Kittle 2, or maybe Kittle will overtake Kelce finally, and you'll have Kittle 1, Kelce 2. Pitts could be number 3, all right? You got Darren Waller, all right, Raiders, right, and Mark Andrews. But I think that this guy, Kyle Pitts, could be better than Mark Andrews or Darren Waller from the Raiders. Maybe not as good as Travis Kelce or George Kittle year 1, but who's to say he's not? He's the best player in this draft, not named Penei Sewell, all right? But with all that draft capital, this would really shock everyone in America, right? And it would just make everyone's head spin, especially when all those draft picks that you gave up, first rounders, second rounders, third rounders, it's just unheard of to draft someone like this. There's only been 2 top 5 tight ends in the last 50 or 60 years. 2, and Mike Ditka's one of them. All right. So you've had like Hawkinson, you've had like Vernon Davis, Vernon Adams, Vernon Davis. All right. You've had guys, right? But maybe not as skilled as a Kyle Pitts. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the Niners, everyone says Mac Jones. Everyone says Justin Fields, right? A couple people maybe say Trey Lance, but I'm not really sure if he's in the running. But like I said, maybe it's all smoke, right? But if you're picking the best player, right, it's Kyle Pitts. Right? You could probably keep Garoppolo around. And if you have Pitts, you can line him at tight end, the slot, the outside. You can line him up anywhere. Right? He's going to be the best player in this draft to me. Period. You really want to get a Mac Jones over a Kyle Pitts? But the thing is it sounds like, with Kyle Shanahan and, obviously he's had guys like Matt Ryan. He's had other guys like Kirk Cousins. He's had other guys, like Jimmy G. Maybe not the most talented guy, but he still made a Super Bowl. Yeah, he's 0-2 in the Super Bowl, right? What I would like, personally, for the San Francisco 49ers, I would love Kyle Pitts. Surprise everyone. You know what I mean? Get the best player in the draft, especially if you go for a Mac Jones or a Justin Fields and a Trey Lance and they get injured or they fucking suck and they can't pick it up. It's a wasted pick with all that capital. So, you better be fucking sure that you're getting the right guy. I would rather go Kyle Pitts, right, 1. Number 2, I'd probably go Justin Fields, right? I would probably go Trey Lance, even over Mac Jones. But my fear is that Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones. John Lynch wants Justin Fields, right? Unless they surprise everyone and they do the crazy thing, right? And they end up going for a guy like this guy right here that we're talking about, Kyle Pitts, the best player in this draft. All right, and I don't care if you want to compare him to Lawrence or Wilson. I think besides him and Penei Sewell, these are the two guys that have the best shot to be Hall of Famers, period. Watch the tape. I did a reaction video earlier today. There's nobody I've seen at the tight end position that has impressed me as much as Kyle Pitts, Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. Special talents. But something tells me that if the Niners end up going for the worst pick to Niner fans and maybe the worst pick to NFL fans in general, this guy on the screen, Mac Jones, something tells me that the Niners can make it work. That might be the only team in the first round that can make Mac Jones work. But they have a great head coach, one of my top 3 in the league. I love Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. If I could have any 2 coaches in the league to come to Tampa Bay, it would be those 2. I love them that much. So I know, Kyle Shanahan is a system guy, right? I want them to pick Justin Fields. I want them to pick Kyle Pitts. But the San Francisco 49ers at the number 3 pick, not O-Dog selection, but this is Kyle Shanahan overriding John Lynch. I hate to say it, Shrikar and all the Niner fans and then the Niner faithful, but I have a feeling that at number 3, the San Francisco 49ers select Mac Jones. Now, do I think it's the right pick? No! I don't think it's a fucking right pick. I think it might be an explosion, right? You know what I mean? It's like I would rather do Trey Lance, definitely Justin Fields. Justin Fields 1, right? And then obviously Kyle Pitts 1, right there at the top. And then even taking a Trey Lance, I like better, right? Even I like that option better than Mac Jones. But if you look at his accuracy and based off him being a pocket guy, if that's what he wants, he doesn't want a scrambler like Trey Lance. He doesn't want the upside of a Justin Fields, which I'm scratching my head just like all y'all. I don't why, right? Why? But I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. All right, that Mac Jones is going to go at 3. Not that I would do it. If it was me personally, I'd probably go Justin Fields just because of the draft capital that you gave up. If you didn't give up as much draft capital, I would say easily Kyle Pitts. But you gave up so much, right? But if you think about it, Kyle Pitts would be worth a first-rounder, a couple first-rounders, especially if he ends up being a Hall of Fame tight end. You can't really put a price on that. 2 George Kittles on the same team, that could be huge. But based on our market and how, quarterbacks are so coveted, I'm thinking that's where it's going to go. Now, number 4, here, the Atlanta Falcons. This is where I think the Falcons trade or someone trades with them. I would be very shocked if they keep this pick. Obviously, they can go for quarterback of the future, and you can go Trey Lance or Justin Fields. Either one would be great for the future, right? But they have a lot of issues that they need to cover. D-line, corner, offensive line. So you could go with a Penei Sewell, right? You could end up, I think bottom line, a team like the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bears, the Panthers, right? Someone is going to trade up out of those teams, all right? The Patriots, the Bears, the Broncos. And if the deal is sweet enough, the Falcons could obviously trade back and collect capital. They don't need to get a Matt Ryan replacement. But if Mac Jones, right, goes 3, Zach Wilson goes 2, and Trevor Lawrence goes 1, all right, there's going to be intrigue to be like, fucking A, Justin Fields is one of the top guys on the board. He's still there. Trey Lance is still there. Do we want to go and address Matt Ryan's protege now? Or do we want to wait till next year or get Mond or, Trask or one of these later round guys to develop? Or do you do the smart thing and then go for a guy like this? Because it's got to be this guy, right? At this point, it's got to be a guy like Kyle Pitts. And if it's not Kyle Pitts, right, it could be a guy like Jamar Chase, right? Or Jalen Waddle. I think a lot of these guys, have a lot. Devontae Smith could be good. He's a little undersized, but I don't think he's worthy of the 4th pick overall. So really when it comes down to is what do you want to address? The D linemen in the draft, the D tackles, they're, not as special as years past, okay? So at number 4, if the Atlanta Falcons stay, how can you pass up on a guy like Kyle Pitts? It's got to be him or Penei Sewell, right? It's got to be one of those guys. And Penei Sewell isn't sexy, right? And obviously it fits with the Bengals and some of these other teams a little bit more, right? Joe Burrow, and obviously they can go over that. So if the Atlanta Falcons, right, at this point, it's Kyle Pitts or they're going for Matt Ryan. Yeah, Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain is great, and they definitely need a corner, right? But picking a corner at 4 over a guy like Kyle Pitts, I mean, it's got to be Kyle Pitts. And then, like I said, if it's not Kyle Pitts, you know what I mean? Offensive lineman, if you get Penei Sewell, that could be definitely a pick. But if you're Atlanta, Penei Sewell makes sense to me, but they're not going to go there. It's going to be Kyle Pitts or Justin Fields. If Justin Fields is still sitting there at 4, it would be very hard for the Falcons to say, you know what? We're going to be able to get another guy in a top 4 pick with a Justin Fields play set, skill set. Is it going to happen again? What's our record going to be next year? They'll probably be a bad team, right? But do you really want to pass up on a Justin Fields, a Matt Ryan replacement? And the answer is yes, because you have a guy, the Atlanta Falcons, at number 4, if there's no trades, but I think that there will be. Sir Luke, bang! He said, when's fantasy starting? I want in. Hey, I'll be doing a drawing for that as well. So if the Falcons keep their pick, right? If the Falcons keep their pick, Atlanta Falcons and O-Dog select at number 4 the best player in the NFL draft in 2021, Kyle Pitts. It's got to be Kyle Pitts, but I definitely think there's going to be, some trades. There's going to be some movement, and it's tough to say on who's going to be there for, the Atlanta Falcons at 4 with the deal being sweet enough. Is it going to be the Broncos? I have a feeling, right? Could it be the Panthers? I have a feeling. Right? It could be the Cowboys wanting to trade up for a guy like that. There's rumors that, he'd love to have Pitts there in the Big D, all right, in Dallas, right? But it also could be a team like the Patriots. If Justin Fields is their guy and they can trade up, which they normally never do, right? If they never do, could be possible. It could be definitely very possible. But at number 4 or number 5, Atlanta or Cincinnati, it could be a combination of Fields, Sewell, or Kyle Pitts, and that's facts. And we have to think about, this doesn't let me do trades or anything like that, so I got to do it just based on, I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen, but we're going to go over maybe the picks here and what we're going to do. So next up, the Cincinnati Bengals, all right? They got options, all right? But they definitely need offensive line. They need D-line, wide receivers. They can definitely go for a number of options, okay? But at the Bengals, what do you do? Do you go for the best offensive lineman in the draft, my boy from the Oregon Ducks? This is the most logical pick for me. All right, he could go 4, but typically, Penei Sewell, look at the height, look at the weight. I mean, this guy is a fucking monster, and I think that he could really help the blind side of Joe Burrow and everything that he's trying to do. So it'd be very hard for me to think that they're going to go anywhere else unless, just like all the experts and quote-unquote people say, there's only really 2 people that you think would probably go here. Penei Sewell, right, is one. Jamar Chase, right, is definitely got to be one of the other people, right? But what happens if they like Jalen Waddle a little bit more? It's definitely a possibility. You never know what they're going to do, all right? You never know what they're going to do. So I don't think Devontae Smith is going to go. I don't think he's going to go ahead of Chase or Waddle. I think Chase and Waddle will more than likely be selected before Smith, but Smith still could end up being a good player. But I got to think for Joe Burrow, right, if he wants to end up being healthy, right, and being able to have a Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame worthy offensive tackle, it's got to be my boy, the number 5 pick, the Cincinnati Bengals. If they don't trade out of this pick, it's got to be offensive lineman guru, the next who? Hall of Fame left tackle from the Oregon Ducks, Penei Sewell. It's got to be. It's got to be that type of person there. And if it's not, it could be a Jamar Chase, right? But Penei Sewell makes more sense. It might not be sexy on paper, but you got to protect Joe Burrow moving forward. And that's big facts. So Bengals would take Chase over Smith. Of course they would. Jamar Chase and even Waddle they would take over Smith, I think, as well. But I think Smith still could be good. All right, so here we go. And like I said, I want your guys' input. Make sure you put it in there. And there's going to be trades, so I don't necessarily think this is going to be fully correct, but this is kind of my thinking of what might happen. All right, next up, the Miami Dolphins. We know they're going to want wide receiver. I don't know if they would trade back from this pick, but it's definitely possible. But could you really trade out of this pick when a guy like this is sitting in the wings just waiting? I mean, is it possible to really be able to pass on a guy like Jamar Chase? I mean, he's the closest thing to Kyle Pitts in the draft. He's definitely going to be very, very special, and I think it's almost a done deal. I mean, he's got the height. He's got the weight. Yeah, he didn't play in 2020, COVID protocol. He wanted to, take that time to be safe. But this guy seems like he could be a superstar just like Justin Jefferson. So with the number 6 pick, the Miami Dolphins give Tua some fucking help. Orion and the Miami Dolphins and Brian Flores select Jamar Chase. It's got to be. All right? So far, I like the Trevor Lawrence. I like the Zach Wilson. The one I hate is the Mac Jones. Kyle Pitts, I like if they keep that pick, but I think that someone's going to trade up Broncos, Bears, Patriots, the number 4, or a surprise team. Penei Sewell at 5 makes sense. Jamar Chase at 6 makes sense. Now we go to the Lions. All right? Now we go to the Lions. What do? Do you go for a Jalen Waddle at wide receiver? Do you go for a Devontae Smith? It's very possible, right? Or do you go for one of my favorite players in the draft, a linebacker, the best linebacker in the draft, in Micah Parsons, or who? Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, right? And obviously, I think Micah Parsons is hands down, right, the best linebacker in the draft, okay? So do you want to go for a staple at the linebacker position? Do you want to do that? Or do you go for a guy like, Devontae Smith, right, which is definitely possible. I love Micah Parsons, but he's no Devin White in my opinion, right? Devontae Smith could be good, right? Jalen Waddle could be good. We've seen, the flashes. Obviously 5'9", 180 is a little concerning from Jalen Waddle. 6 foot, 170. It's actually more closer to 160, 165 at Devontae Smith. But if the Lions are sitting here, right? If the Lions are sitting here and we know some of the players at the wide receiving core are no longer there, do you really believe in Jared Goff and the Goffense? And I say the answer is no. So at the quarterback position, if Justin Fields is still sitting there or Trey Lance, depending on which one that you like more, can you really pass up on one of those two guys at this point? Of course, going at the linebacker position to me, Micah Parsons, all right? If you haven't seen the tape, please do. Penn State, amazing player. Look at his tape. He's going to be a stud, okay? Wide receivers, all right? Devontae Smith could be in the running, but I don't think it's going to be him. It's going to be more of a Jalen Waddle, type of player. But you never know. Maybe it's a Devontae Smith, right? But if it's the 7th pick in the draft and the Lions are sitting there and they thought Justin Fields would be number 2, number 3, number 4, that he would still be there, and he's still on the board, right? Jared Goff and the Goffense, right? You don't believe in him. You didn't get to sign him to some long-term deal. I got to think, even though Micah Parsons makes sense, all right, for the Lions, wide receivers Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle make sense. You got to go for the best talent for your future, all right, and get someone that's a Matthew Stafford-ish kind of guy. It's got to be, to me, And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is what I would do. All right, I would go for my boy right here, arguably one of the better players in this draft that's growing, the number 7 pick. And I know Jared Goff and the Goffense isn't going to be happy. I don't give a fuck if you want to be happy or not, all right? We're looking for Detroit's future. We don't want them to be in the fucking gutter. This is going to be the correct pick. You can get another wide receiver later in the 2nd round or 3rd round. You might get an Elijah Moore later on, or a Kadarius Toney, or another guy I like a lot, Terrence Marshall Jr. All right, there's other guys here that you might be able to get. After Terrence Marshall Jr., though, there is a drop-off. Marshall will be good. Toney will be good. Elijah Moore, right, will be good. All right, but you got to go for the guy. At this point, he's still there. He's still there. It's got to be this guy right here, who I think could have went number 2 or number 3 to the Jets or the Niners, which would have made way more sense than Mac Jones. But I hope, Detroit, you're listening. Are you listening right now, Detroit? It's got to be this guy if he's still on the board. Number 7 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, O-Dog selects Justin Fields. It's got to. It's going to give the quarterback competition with Jared Goff. And, you don't have to invest in a guy like Jared Goff long term. But if he's there, you got to go for a guy like that. I think the Detroit office is too stupid to make that pick. And like I said, if it was what I think they're going to do, they're going to go probably for the safe pick, which would be a Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, or a Micah Parsons. That's where I think they're going to more than likely go, right? But Justin Fields, you got to take that into consideration there. All right, number 8. All right, the Panthers. There's going to be some needs for the Panthers here. And obviously, if Penei Sewell's off the board, this has got to be the guy that's first on their board right now besides Trey Lance, is Rashawn Slater. 6'4", 304, Northwestern, Big Ten, a guy that could give them the protection, that they need. Now, so I don't really know if they like Trey Lance more than Sam Darnold. What's more important, getting a Trey Lance and getting that project guy? Because the Broncos might want to get a quarterback and they might trade up, right? Patriots might want to trade up. And obviously I can't do trades on here, right? So even though Rashawn Slater, to me is the more obvious pick, I think at this point, you're thinking you're the Panthers, you need O-line, you need corner, you need wide receiver. You could definitely go for the best corner in the draft, Patrick Surtain, which I would love. Right, but do you pass on a guy like Trey Lance? If Trey Lance is sitting there, can you really pass on him? And I'm not sure if the Panthers will. If they love Trey Lance, don't be surprised if he goes to the Panthers. I think there's a good possibility there. But the right pick would be this guy right here, Rashawn Slater. Or it could be Patrick Surtain from Alabama. All right, so I got to go with offensive line because I love offensive linemen. I got to think that they see the value in Slater just like they do in Penei Sewell. So number 8 pick, the Carolina Panthers want Trey Lance. Their fan base wants it, right? Maybe Surtain would be great there as well, but they definitely need offensive linemen, all right? They traded for Darnold, Bird Gang, but that's not long term. They don't know if that's going to be the future. If you can pair him up with Trey Lance and have a competition, maybe Lance is better. Maybe I don't think they believe in Goff or they believe in Darnold, in Detroit or at Carolina. Teddy Two Gloves ain't it, all right? But I got to think that at the number 8 pick, they're going to go for the second best offensive lineman, Rashawn Slater. All right? All right, next up, the Denver Broncos. And this one's easy because Trey Lance is sitting there and they need a quarterback, even though I think the Broncos are going to trade up. Bang, 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 bang. The Denver Broncos select Trey Lance. They got to at this point. That's where I would go. Obviously, you need other positions, but if he's sitting there and you didn't even have to trade up, that's got to be the guy that they're going to be looking at moving forward. And then at number 10, this is super easy. The Dallas Cowboys have so many fucking holes, on their team. It's almost comical, but you already know who it's going to be, right? At corner, Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain the second, all right? Not Surtain. You saw his daddy play in the league, and you got guys like Joe Horn's son, and a lot of these guys who have sons in the league. But this guy is a shutdown cover corner, man-to-man, Justin Wills. Now, this is not me necessarily. This is it's a combination of what I think is going to happen, right? And I also gave my input, Justin Wills. I said that I would rather have Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or Kyle Pitts at 3, but my gut says Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones. That's the only pick so far out of the top 9 that I don't agree with. But I think that's what Kyle Shanahan's going to do. Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones. He can make anyone into a winner. I think Justin Fields has more upside. I think Trey Lance has more upside. Kyle Pitts is the best player in the draft, all right? But I think that's what they're going to do, all right? Lawrence, Wilson, Jones, and then Pitts at 4 if they keep the pick. But I don't think they're going to keep it. I think someone's going to trade up. All right, with Atlanta. So Pitts, it's going to be a quarterback, maybe, like Justin Fields getting picked at 4 by the Patriots or the Broncos or the Bears. That's what I think is going to happen. But if the trade doesn't happen, Kyle Pitts, that kind of makes sense. And I can't do trades in this simulation, all right? So at number 10, obviously it's going to be the best corner in this draft. Calvin Griffin fucking knows it, all right? And I hope they're not stupid. And if you go for J.C. Horn here as well, I wouldn't be butthurt about it. Joe Horn's son from South Carolina. This guy is a fucking ball hawk. All right, went to South Carolina. Now, if they end up going for him, I don't think a lot of Cowboys fans would be pissed. And this guy is definitely in the same category to me with Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain is the best, but J.C. Horn ain't that far behind, all right? They ain't that far behind. So, but I got to think that they're going to go for the smart pick, right? The number 1 guy from Bama, the Dallas Cowboys, we damn boys, and O-Dog select Patrick Surtain II, all right, at 10. Now this is where it gets tricky. All right, the New York Football Giants, they're in a key position right here to trade. All right, there's going to be some options here. And if you look at the Giants and their defense, they've been building and building and building. The defense looks good. Saquon could be healthy. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes, I don't believe in him at all. All right, I don't believe in him at all. But you got to be able to give him, I guess, another year to see what he's going to do with Saquon. But you got weapons on the wide receiver position. You revamp the defense, right? But what's going to help you the most? Linebacker, all right? You need D-line. You need wide receivers, running backs, offensive line, defensive line. You need all that. So if you look at the offensive linemen, right, you got Christian Darrisaw. You got some of these other guys. But you already saw Penei Sewell go off the board, right? You already saw Rashawn Slater go off the board. So to me, this is a no-brainer. You're going to go for the best player right now. It's got to be Micah Parsons. And I love linebackers and I love offensive linemen. If you guys know me and know football, all right, I love linebackers, safeties, corners, DNs, D tackles, nose tackles, offensive linemen, centers, guards, tackles. Yes, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends are great. All right, but I'm a defensive guy first. All right, and an offensive lineman guy second, and I know that's very rare. So if you haven't smashed the fucking like button just yet, please do. Donate to your boy. But to me, this is the most logical pick. He's the best linebacker in the draft. He might not have a Devin White impact, but he could for this team, and they need him. And this guy right here I like a lot too, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. This guy can cover like no other. Notre Dame, Fighting Irish. So I could see them going for either one. Micah Parsons, right? Micah Parsons or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, all right? But if you look here, Christian Darrisaw is pretty nice. All right, Virginia Tech, he's sitting there. All right, he's sitting there. What do you do? And then D lineman, you got Christian Barmore. All right, you got Jason Owe. All right, so there's other guys. And then one of my favorites, Kwity Paye from Michigan. All right, but at this point, all these great players that I covered and watched film, I got to think it's got to be either Micah Parsons, right, or it's got to be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Koramoah is great in coverage. He does a lot of things. He's fast. He's physical. So it'll be really kind of okay, who do they like more at the linebacker positions? Because it got to be one of the two, right, Micah Parsons or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, but I got to do it, all right? The New York Football Giants at number 11, pick with O-Dog, Micah Parsons, the best linebacker in the draft. It just makes sense. All right, Eagles fans. Are you in the building? Fly, Eagles, fly. Now, the first thing I want to say, I'm not sure if I believe in your head coach. Your head coach has got a different way of thinking. He's talking about rock, paper, scissors and seeing how competitive that they're going to be. All right, I watch the press conferences. I follow everything Philadelphia Eagles. All right, just like I do with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, all 32 teams. I'm not sure how long this motherfucker is going to keep his job. I don't know how long this guy's going to keep his job, right? You could have had, a Justin Jefferson, right, type of player, DK Metcalf. You could have had some of these guys, and then you ended up picking a deep threat guy, right? A guy that at this point, we don't want to say he's a bust, right? But you went for the speedster instead of going for the Justin Jefferson, and you should have went Justin Jefferson. I mean, you should have went with the better talent. You went for the reaching pick, the speedster, the future D-Jacks, kind of player. And the Eagles seem like they always fuck shit up, and I hate to say that, right? But can you really fuck this pick up? And the answer is yes. All right, I don't really like this head coach for the Eagles. Bird Gang, let me know. Do you like your head coach? I mean, obviously Carson Wentz, and Dougie P, and you needed a change. But that's not the problem. Howie Roseman and the ownership, that's the problem. The owners, Lurie, Howie Roseman, the GM, right? That's the fucking problem, all right? Can you really fuck this pick up? And the answer is yes. Do you trade back out of this pick? It wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles did, right? If you're smart right here, right? If you're smart, Devontae Smith makes a hell of a lot of sense. I like Jalen Waddle actually maybe a little bit more for this particular team. I think he would give you a little bit more. Elijah Moore will go later in the first round, and I think Kadarius Toney is another guy that's going to do some things in the late first round. And another sleeper, Terrence Marshall Jr., could do some big things. But you got to be thinking at this point, Eagles, right? Eagles, Howie Roseman's a joke. Why? All right? Devontae Smith has got to be the logical pick, right? So you got Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. It sounds nice, right? Jalen Waddle isn't that much bigger. I mean, we're talking about 6 foot, 170, 5'9", 180. He's got a little bit of weight. They're smaller receivers, right? The Eagles need wide receiver. They need corner. They need, linebacker, O-line, D-line, right? And even though that some of these other wide receivers after, you already kind of hit and miss last season. Bird Gang, let them know in the chat. Who did you draft over Justin Jefferson? I know it's going to pain you, but let everyone else in the room know. Please do. All right, Bird Gang, who did you guys draft over Justin Jefferson last season? And we don't know that this guy's going to be a complete bust, right? But it doesn't look good after Justin Jefferson could have won Offensive Rookie of the Year with Justin Herbert. Let them know. Don't be afraid. Educate the fan base in the room. So at this point, Devontae Smith makes sense. Jalen Waddle makes sense, all right? But you know what makes more sense to me in the division that you're in? This guy right here. J.C. Horn, Joe Horn's son. This Rager, brutal. Rager, why? Right? But you can redeem yourself with this new, class of coaches and everything that you got. I like J.C. Horn, right, as the best pick. All right, I like this as the best pick. Realistically, they're probably going to go Devontae Smith, right, or Jalen Waddle. Right? They're going to go for someone to give Jalen Hurts some more weapons. But you got to think, with the division that you're in, with the weapons that you're going to be going against at tight end and wide receiver, right? After this guy, there's a drop-off. J.C. Horn is a stud. I could see, Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn going to the Cowboys, all right? So it's definitely one of those things. I would hope the Eagles go for the smart pick, which would be corner. That would be the smart pick to go, a stud. You guys loved Brian Dawkins back in the day at the safety position. J.C. Horn could bring you that respect, and Eagles fans could actually cheer for once. But they would probably boo because they would get a guy like this, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, if you didn't get one of those. So for me, all right, Devontae Smith makes sense. Jalen Waddle makes more sense to me. All right, Smith 3, Waddle 2, but the number one spot to me, even though I know Jalen Hurts, he needs weapons and he needs some depth there. I get it, but you can get it in the second round, third round. You can trade up, right? But it's got to be this guy right here. And obviously, I'm a defensive guy, but I love J.C. Horn just as much as Patrick Surtain. All right, the second for the Cowboys. It's got to be. Come on, Eagles. Don't let me down. J.C. Horn. The Philadelphia Eagles select with O-Dog, J.C. Horn, cornerback from South Carolina. All right? So I hope the Eagles are listening, but that's the guy that you should go for. Eagles fans will probably half cheer, half boo, and they'll be like, what the fuck? Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are still on the board. I get it. All right? But certain things happen. Certain people will slide, and this isn't going to be the correct lineup because there's going to be trades. All right? And here we go. We're halfway through the draft at this point. We're getting there. All right? My boy, Justin fucking Herbert. All right? We got a lot of options here. And obviously you got to think, Devontae Smith with Keenan Allen? Yes, please. Jalen Waddle with Keenan Allen? Yes, please. All right? But they don't really need it, right? You know, they need offensive line. They need corner. They need tight end, special teams, D linemen. But if Jalen Waddle is sitting there, can you really pass up on a talent like that? On the offensive lineman side, you can go Christian Darrisaw, right? You can go for the third best lineman, and then obviously we need Justin Herbert to get some protection from Virginia Tech. 6'4", 322. This guy could be a stud. All right? You can also go to the cornerback position, and you can get a guy like Greg Newsome II, all right, from Northwestern, or a Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech, right? But I got to think, right, at wide receiver, if you're sitting there, right, and maybe not so much Devontae Smith, but if Jalen Waddle is sitting there, and he could have easily been a top 8 pick in this draft, top 8, top 10. Do they have to consider Jalen Waddle and Keenan Allen together with Justin Herbert? Of course, an offensive lineman makes sense, and you can get some of these other guys. You got Darrisaw, right? Elijah Vera Tucker, right, from the Pac-12 from USC. Landon Dickerson from Bama, Roll Tide, right? Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. But are you going to get another talent like a Jalen Waddle? I mean, it's going to be tough at this point, right? It's going to be tough. But they do need offensive linemen, and they could do a Devontae Smith. They could do a Jalen Waddle. But with the Chargers and what they need to do, right, obviously Penei Sewell's dream was to play with Justin Herbert and go that route, right? But to me, you got to get the best offensive lineman that's there. It's got to be the Los Angeles Chargers, even though there's better players out there. I like this guy a lot. The Los Angeles Chargers at number 13 select from Virginia Tech, Christian Darrisaw. All right? So I don't know if you guys have been really agreeing with me so far or disagreeing, but I feel we're kind of on the same page. All right? Next up, at 14, the Minnesota Vikings. We saw what they did with Justin Jefferson. All right, we saw what they did there. Jameis Meza in the building, Cash Out in the building, Calvin Griffin in the building. If you're in the building, holla at me. Smash that like button, donate to your boy. And this is the first time I've done a draft like this, and I hope you guys like it. It's cool that it's got the pictures. It's got the little breakdown, obviously, behind me as well, and we can kind of go over these picks together. And we'll see what my grade is at the end, if they give me a C grade, D grade, or if they actually give me an A or B. I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. The only one that I don't like out of all these picks is Mac Jones, and that's not me picking him. That's fucking Kyle Shanahan picking him because he's a stubborn motherfucker. I love him. He'd be my number 1 choice as a replacement for BA, Bruce Arians. Sean McVay would be my number 2 because I love those 2 coaches more than anything. I love the brains. I love the play calling, the leadership, all right? But now we're going to go to the Minnesota Vikings. All right, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, all right, linebacker. What do you do for the Vikings? They need a lot of help, all right? So you can go for another offensive lineman. Right, you can also go to see what the defensive linemen look like as well, right? Christian Barmore would be definitely kind of exciting. You've seen guys on the Minnesota line that really disrupted the Saints that necessarily aren't there anymore. Remember Minnesota's line? Their D-line had some ballers out there, but they're not really the same. Could they go for a Christian Barmore, right, from Alabama, the D tackle, right? Could they go that route, right? Or maybe they go for Jason Owe, right? Or maybe a Kwity Paye, a Michigan edge. You know what I mean? There's certain guys that, definitely are sexy. All 3 of those guys are sexy to me. Obviously offensive linemen, you're looking at, this guy right here, Elijah Vera Tucker, Landon Dickerson, you can go that right. Tevin Jenkins, Quinn, all right, you can go down this route as well. Aaron Banks, Notre Dame. There's a lot of guys that you can go through right here. But this is where it gets kind of tricky, right? So at this point, you don't need a wide receiver. But do they want to get a Devontae Smith or a Jalen Waddle at this point? I mean, you could definitely do that, but it's not really a need, right? You need other positions more than that. So it makes me kind of wonder what the Vikings will end up doing, at this point. But can they really pass up, on an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman? If you want to pass up on Christian Barmore, right, or a Jason Owe or a Kwity Paye. I mean, it's got to be one of these guys either on the D-line or the offensive line. And there's more depth at wide receiver. So it's going to make it really interesting, and I can see the Vikings trading back, right? Or right? I could see a team trading up. It just depends on where they want to go, right? So, all right. So Barmore, Owe, Kwity Paye, one of those three, right? Or Elijah Vera Tucker or Landon Dickerson. So it's tough. It's like, do you want to go offensive line? Yeah, you need that position pretty fucking bad. You need to have Kirk Cousins, to have some time there, right? Who's it going to be, though? It's really tough right here. This is a very kind of a head scratcher. The first one where you're like, I don't know. Elijah Vera Tucker, right? It could be Landon, right? D-line, Christian Barmore at D-tackle could be nice, right? It could be Owe, right? The pass rusher. Kwity Paye, it could be him. So at this point, I got to think it's got to be one of the better pass rushers, D-tackle or, an edge guy or an offensive lineman, even though we're already on our, fourth best offensive lineman. So if I'm the Vikings, I'm going to go defense and get to the pass rusher. So I got to go with either Jason Owe, Christian Barmore, or Kwity Paye. Even though I like Kwity Paye maybe the best, I think they're going to go this route, and they're going to go for Jason Owe, Penn State edge rusher, the Minnesota Vikings at 14 select Jason Owe. All right. All right, here we go. Kwity Paye, I like Kwity Paye as well. It could have been either one or the other. It's going to be one of those two guys. All right. The Patriots. Now, if they stay at 15, the rumor is that they might trade for Aaron Rodgers' backup, Jordan Love. Do they really want to go that route? And the Patriots, they want to be looking at certain guys, Kyle Trask, Davis Mills, Kellen Mond. I mean, I don't know if these guys are going to be the guys that they're looking at, right? Trask, right? Davis Mills from Stanford, even though Tampa Bay might be looking at someone like that, right? Kellen Mond, A&M. He's got a lot of, games under his belt. But how about giving Scam Newton, and giving some of the Patriots, some extra weapons at wide receiver, so they're very, very thin. It's got to be like a Devontae Smith or a Jalen Waddle, right? You would think it would be one of those type of guys that they could implement into the offense. They need quarterback, wide receiver, corner, linebacker. So, it could be a Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. I could see this guy getting picked here just because it fits the scheme, but it's a little bit maybe not as important as maybe some of the other positions like corner, right, or wide receiver. So at this point, even though this is the most natural fit for me, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, right, or trying to go for a guy at corner, Greg Newsome II, or Caleb Farley, right? So Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. Obviously, you've seen what the Heisman winner can do, or Jalen Waddle. So if I had to pick a guy, I'm going to go for the disciplined guy. I'm going to go for the Heisman guy. And I think the New England Patriots have a great chance to trade up to number 4, number 5 to try to get a Justin Fields, right, or a Trey Lance. But I think at this point, I'm going to go the New England Patriots select, even though I like this one the best. This is my favorite one for them because they love defensive guys, right? This is the most natural pick for me, right? This guy right here, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, but you got to pick this guy if he's still on the board. Number 15, the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels select Devonta Smith, the Heisman winner, all right? Not all these are going to be right. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of movement in the draft. And then next up, the Arizona Cardinals. They're looking for options and weapons. They're looking for a Kyle Pitts. They're looking for a Jamar Chase. They're looking for, pieces at corner, wide receiver, offensive line. So you can go for a Greg Newsome II, and that would make a lot of sense, right? It would make a lot of sense, right? Amber M in the building. What to do? But I got to think, right? Greg Newsome and Caleb Farley make the most sense for the Cardinals because they need defense. J.J. Swat is getting a little bit older, all right? I don't know how many sacks he's got in him, right? And you already know his wingman, all right? He's going to be able to do some big things there too as long as he doesn't get hurt, all right? But they got Budda Baker, right? You got certain pieces there that if they stay healthy, they could do something. But if you want to give Kyler Murray the most weapons, you got DeAndre Hopkins, right? Maybe Larry Fitz comes back, right? You got a lot of options, but could you pass on a Jalen Waddle at this point? I mean, I know you got Andy Isabella and Christian Kirk, Larry Fitz, right? You got a lot of these guys, sitting there. But if Jalen Waddle is sitting there, could you really pass on that? I could see the Cardinals trading up for like a Kyle Pitts, but I got to think defense is very important for the Cardinals. They need corner, wide receiver. They need line, running back, and they could even surprise a lot of people, and they could do this, right? from Clemson, Travis Etienne, right? I know they got James Atemene-Akana and Chase, they got Chase there, Edmonds there also, or maybe a Najee Harris. They could go this route as well. It's possible. But at this point, it's got to be this guy, Greg Newsome II, right, from Northwestern, or it's got to be Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. It's got to be one of these guys. So Newsome, 6 foot 192. Caleb Farley, all right, 6'1", 197. All right, it's got to be one of these two guys. So I think at this point the Cardinals need defense. Of course, there's sexier, guys at running back and wide receiver, but you got to be able to stop somebody. I know you got a D-line. All right, you got J.J. Swat with his boy on the other side. All right, we know that they're going to be able to pair up and get a lot of sack lunches. All right, Budda Baker's a stud. But it's got to be Caleb Farley or Greg Newsome II. And I think I like Caleb Farley in this particular role just because he's a little taller. He's 6'1", but it could be either one. It could be Greg Newsome II or Caleb Farley. So I'm going to go not based on any inside information, here or there, all right? But the Arizona Cardinals select Caleb Farley at corner. All right, I like that pick right there for them. All right, we're more than halfway through, and we got the Las Vegas Raiders up at 17. They got a lot of needs: linebacker, D-line, offensive line. You got to be able to give them the proper weapons. So when I see this pick, right, the first name that comes to mind is this guy, just like the Patriots. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's great in coverage. He can really make a difference on the defense. Yeah, I know you need offensive linemen, right? And you can go for an Elijah Tucker, right? You can go for a Landon Dickerson, right? A Tevin Jenkins, and you definitely need, some offensive line. You need linebacker. You need D-line. But if this guy's still sitting there, I find it hard to believe that they're not going to be able to pick up a stud like this. You got to, because with him and Micah Parsons, by far they're the two best linebackers in this draft. But do they want to go offensive linemen over that? Do you go for an Elijah Vera Tucker over a guy that I think is a little bit better just because they need line? I know you need line desperately. I know you do. Raiders. All right? But to me, you got to go for the best player that would fit the system, right? It's got to be this guy, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. But do the Raiders have a track record from picking someone, from Notre Dame? I don't know. I know this is going to be a need for them, but they're probably going to have to go for an offensive lineman, someone that can make a difference for them. You got to be like a Landon Dickerson or Elijah Vera Tucker or a Tevin Jenkins. It's got to be one of these guys. So to me, I got to pick probably the best guard, right, that's left on the board, Elijah Vera Tucker. You got to give Carr and the rest of the weapons some time. So the Raiders, don't pick the sexy pick. There's other options, but Elijah Vera Tucker. Okay. Next up, the Miami Dolphins. Now they need a wide receiver. Guess who's available? Bang! Jalen Waddle. That was quick. Bang, 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 bang. Because he's sitting there. They need him. And that's going to be a no-brainer. Of course, you could go for Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, or Terrence Marshall. But some of these picks, if it's just sitting there and there's nobody trading up, so then you get, right, Jalen Waddle, and you get Jamar Chase. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Beef up the core. Beef up the core for the Miami Dolphins. Now, there's other positions that they can go, right? They definitely don't have to go wide receiver, and they probably won't go wide receiver. They'll probably go for some of the other positions that they need. I get it. But if he's just sitting there, I know you need other positions. Also, the Dolphins, if they wanted to, they could go for a Travis Etienne, all right? They can go for a Najee Harris, right? They can go for defensive players. So, but maybe they go for Jalen Waddle. You never know. Or do we back out of that pick and we think of other guys that they can get? Maybe if you want to go D lineman, right? A Christian Barmore, right? That would make sense since you already went for the pick, right, with Jamar Chase. So, of course, they're not going to go double up at wide receiver, but I would love it. That gives Tua some aggressiveness, right? I would love it. D-line, Barmore looks good. Kwity Paye looks good, right? So those could be guys that they could be looking at. Offensive line, you got other names there. But at this point, at that next pick, it's got to be D-lineman. It's got to be, all right? Even though I would like the Jalen Waddle, but Christian Barmore at D tackle sounds sexy. Kwity Paye on the edge sounds sexy, all right? It looks sexy. So I'm going to go, the Miami Dolphins select Kwity Paye from Michigan, the pass rusher. I'm going to go D-line, because I think that'll be a good position for the Miami Dolphins, even though I'd love for them to go double up at wide receiver, but I don't think they're going to do it. Next up, the Washington football team. Where do they go? Offensive line, linebacker, tight end, quarterback. So, it's not going to be maybe the sexiest pick. You could end up getting a Landon Dickerson, right, or a Tevin Jenkins, right? But if you do need a linebacker, right, and he's still sitting there, this got to be a consideration. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the Washington football team, has got to consider him, because I think he might be better than the options that you have here in Landon Dickerson, Tevin Jenkins, Quinn Manners, Aaron Banks. So let's go linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. That makes sense to me, for a few teams. Washington football team, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at 19. All right, here we go. Chicago Bears. They got Andy Dalton. All right, they got Andy Dalton. He's not the future. They need quarterback, but you're not going to get it with Kyle Trask or Davis Mills, right? Or Kellen Mond, right? You need to be able to get something better. You need a lot of different positions at this point. I mean, you could end up doing a Jalen Waddle. That would make sense, right? You could do an Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, Terrence Marshall Jr., but obviously you need offensive line as well. You need a lot of help, there. So it's got to be, to me, at this point, even though QB is a necessity, Landon Dickerson would be nice. Okay, you can end up throwing him around. Tevin Jenkins could be nice as well. So obviously what the Bears do here is going to be interesting. I assume they're going to trade up because they're going to try to get a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. I think that's really what's on their mind. But if they end up going for a position that they need, it can't be, at this point, Trask, Mills, Mond. These guys aren't good enough at that position, right? These guys are okay, but they're definitely project QBs. Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, Kyle Trask, Sam Ehlinger. We saw him at Texas, a little bit of potential there. So with the Bears, where do they go? Where do they go? And obviously offensive line, wide receiver, linebacker, corner, there's going to be some, positions there. But do they end up passing on a talent like Jalen Waddle if he's sitting there? I mean, do you really pass up on a guy, if he's sitting there right now? If he's sitting there right now, do you pass on a guy like that? Or do you end up going for an offensive lineman, which you probably need? That's going to be very important to keep Andy Dalton upright and keep him upright to be able to make fucking plays. So let's go with the SEC. Let's go Landon Dickerson. Chicago Bears need all the help that they can fucking get. All right, Indianapolis Colts. You're up next. All right. Offensive line, defensive line, tight end, corner, wide receiver. And even though wide receiver depth is 5th on the chart, they need a lot of different people. Let me scroll here. Give me a sec here. Got to adjust the screen. One sec. All right. Got it adjusted. One sec.
David, speaking of having better players than the competition, Mac Jones comes in at 4 on this list. Tom, was there a big gap between him and Jones?
There was not. And really, you can add Trey Lance into that category, too. Depending on who you talk to, and there could be 32 draft boards, I guarantee there's every order of Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and then Trey Lance.
I was going to say, where the fuck did my chat go? My chat disappeared. Where did it go? There it is. All right. I'm scrolling. I had to scroll. I knew I was going to have to scroll at some point. All right. Thank you for that cash out. Obviously, the way that the screen is formatted, I got to do it at some point. Appreciate every single one of y'all kicking it with me, and we can kind of go over this draft together. All right, so the Indianapolis Colts, they're up next. All right. Offensive line. Obviously, they need help there. D-line, tight end, corner, wide receiver. I know you got Michael Pittman Jr. I know you got him there, right? I know you got him there. But T.Y. Hilton is old as shit, right? So, I mean, could you be looking at a Jalen Waddle, type of player at this point. I mean, you got to think, even though it might not be on their board as high, right? But they got to be thinking of other options. But you need offensive linemen too, right? You need defensive linemen. Tevin Jenkins, it could be a guy like that from Oklahoma State, right? And you got to think, you're in Indianapolis, you can get someone closer to home, right? Wisconsin Whitewater, It could be another guy on the offensive line. It's tough with some of these picks, and at D-line, it looks a little bit more sexier than the offensive line, right? But at D-line, maybe pairing up a guy like Christian Barmore, right? Or Azeez Ojulari, all right, on the edge from Georgia. Another guy that they could put in there, or maybe a Jalen Phillips from Miami. It could be another guy like that. But you got to think, if you got certain pieces on the D-line, and with the San Francisco 49ers, we know what they had with Bosa, and they had to make some trades. Beefing up that D-line would be pretty sexy. And if you can get a guy like Christian Barmore, right, from Bama on the Colts, I kind of like that opportunity if it was an option. I'm not sure if it's going to be an option, for them. But it kind of sounds sexy to me, you know what I mean, if they went that route. So they need offensive line, they need defensive line. But if Barmore is sitting there, it's already pick 21. Let's take him. Christian Barmore at 21 to the Colts. Get him some fucking D so maybe they can make an AFC fucking championship game. All right? All right, there we go. NWSF Northwest Sports Fanatics NFL 2021 mock draft with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. All right, next up, the Tennessee Titans, Jamison Mesa's team. All right, offensive lineman, wide receiver. You lost Corey Davis. So at this point, you need offensive line, Jamison Mesa. So you could either trade back or get an amazing D tackle or cornerback, right? But what if Jalen Waddle is sitting there, right? You lost Corey Davis, right? He's on the Jets now. This could be A.J. Brown on one side, Jalen Waddle on the other. Yes, I know you need other positions. You need corner. You can get one later. Offensive line, you could be looking for something there as well. D-line, offensive line, wide receiver, corner, tight end, right? But if Jalen Waddle is sitting there, I mean, you got to replace Corey Davis, right? So I got to think that's got to be a pretty good pick. Or you could do like an Elijah Moore, if you want to go that route, if that's a better fit, or a Kadarius Toney. If you want to go that type of player, or a Terrence Marshall, another big body guy, right? But Kadarius Toney would be a good guy in the slot. Elijah Moore could be a good guy in the slot. Jalen Waddle, and Brown, could be epic. All right, because you already had A.J. Brown, you got King Henry, Ryan Tannehill. So to me, yes, I know you need other positions, O-line, corner. I get it, Jamison Mesa. But if he's sitting there this fucking late, you got to take him. Tennessee Titans, even though the Titans with Christian Barmore would have been a great pick too, right? And we can also look at the corners, because you can pick a corner right, in the first round or second round. You don't have to take them with the first option. So, yes, you might need offensive lineman, wide receiver, and corner, but that doesn't mean you have to pick an offensive lineman first. You might go for the best available talent. So let's go with Jalen Waddle. That could be epic. Corey Davis gone. Bye. All right, he's going to be playing with Zach Wilson more than likely on the Jets. Insert Jalen Waddle, A.J. Brown, King Henry, and Tannehill. Yeah, motherfucker. Sign me up. Tennessee Titans select Jalen Waddle. All right, now the Jets are up. All right, and they already picked their quarterback. So now at this point, you're going to need corner, offensive line, D-line, and tight end, right? So you can end up going for a guy like Greg Newsome, right, which makes a lot of sense. Tyson Campbell makes a lot of sense. But what if the Jets, right, at this point at 23 say, hey, I know that certain guys don't have a lot of value. Jamison Mesa, bang, $5, thank you, right? But the Jets would be sexy with Zach Wilson at 2. And what about this guy? Travis Etienne. That would be sexy. That would be, put him on the map. Or maybe this guy, Najee Harris, right? Wouldn't that be sexy? That would look really good on paper, right? I mean, they need some help at the running back position, right? Etienne, Najee Harris, paired up would be great. But I got to think that they're going to be smart about it, and they're going to pick what they need, and they're going to go for this guy right here, right behind some of the other studs that we saw earlier, all right? We saw guys, right, Patrick Surtain, all right? We saw guys like J.C. Horn, right? But then we got to go for the next one. Greg Newsome, the second from Northwestern, Let's go for him and get some Jets. Maybe a corner not as good as Darrell Revis, but let's go there. Even though I would like ETN and Najee Harris more, you got to get defense too. So the Jets get Jets, Jets. Greg Newsome II. The Steelers. Now you need offensive line. James Atumeneta is gone. Linebacker, corner, tight end. All right, and at this point, right, it's got to be Travis Etienne or Najee Harris. And I got to think, at this point, James Atumeneta is gone. Insert Najee Harris to the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though I would want him, right, on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that makes the most sense. His body size, his physicality, that makes the most sense to me with Najee Harris at 24. Even though Etienne could go to the Jets at 23, and we can go back-to-back running back, I would love that, but that's what I got to think is going to happen. All right, the Jags. Now you're up. Quarterback is taken care of. Now you need corner, right? You need offensive line, defensive line, tight end. Where do you go? What do they get? Do you want to get a Tommy Tremble from Notre Dame? Do you want to go that route? It's a little too early for that pick, right? Corner, right? Maybe a Tyson Campbell from Georgia, right? Maybe an Eric Stokes. You're going to want to be able to get someone that you're familiar with. This guy's 6'1", 193. All right, this guy's 6 foot 194. They're going to need those positions. Offensive linemen, there's still some good ones there as well. Tevin Jenkins, Quinn, Aaron Banks, Alex Leatherwood. There's a lot of different guys. Liam Eichenberg, which I like. That might end up going to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want to say any spoilers or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But, it could go there. But let's go for the positions that you need. And you're going to definitely need, some depth at corner. So I got to go right here. We're going to go Tyson Campbell. Not the sexiest pick, but let's go here. Next up, the Cleveland Browns. All right, the Cleveland Browns, who I think is going to win the AFC North over the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Bengals. All right, D-line, corner, linebacker. All right, what are we looking at here? So you got to go to the D-line, right, and you got to be looking at guys like this, Azeez Ojulari, right, Jalen Phillips, right? That's got to be another guy. It's got to be one of these two guys, but who do they already get? Myles Garrett, and they got Jadeveon Clowney. So is it going to be another edge guy? Probably not, right? So you can give them some more depth at corner with this guy, Eric Stokes, or maybe you go linebacker, right, and give them some more depth there with a guy like Zaven Collins. I could definitely see something like that from Tulsa. It could be something like that. So at this point, they're going to need corner. Let's go Eric Stokes. Cleveland Browns select Eric Stokes. The Ravens. All right, the Ravens now need linebacker, O-line, wide receiver, and obviously they think their wide receiving core is good enough. It's fucking not. They need guys like this, like Elijah Moore. Yeah, you got Sammy Watkins, right? But how good is he? Right? And who else do you have on your fucking team? Hollywood Brown? Not very good. All right, let's be honest. Mark Andrews is good. And cash out hybrid. All right, you want the Terrence Marshall pick. Right? You want that. You want the Kadarius Toney pick or the Elijah Moore pick. Any of those three would be good. But guess what? They're not going to do that. I know they're not. You're going to go defense or you're going to end up going for a lineman. That's just what the Ravens are going to do. So if you're going to end up going with a linebacker, right, and getting some depth there, it's got to be Zaven Collins, Jamin Davis, Nick Bolton, and I'm going to go Zaven Collins. They always hit on their defensive guys. They can get another wide receiver in the next round, but I think they're going to go for the need that they, really cherish, and they're going to go for Zaven Collins. Saints! All right, the Saints are up. The Saints are up, all right? And Marshall would be a good pick for them. Obviously, for the Ravens, there's a lot of guys that could fit in that offense. That's big facts. So the Saints need corner. Marshawn Lattimore, more than likely, is not going to be able to be afforded, with the time being. Secondary, a new overhaul. T-Rex is gone. Sheldon Rankins is gone. They need a new tight end in Jared Cook, right? No more Emmanuel Sanders. So they need corner. They need wide receiver. So what do you do here? Do you want to address the corner position and get one of these guys like Aaron Robinson, right? Do you need one of these guys? Yeah, you'll get maybe someone in the second round, but it's got to be, to me, a wide receiver. At this point, you got Elijah Moore, right, sitting there, who could be a great slot receiver. Kadarius Toney, right, who could be a good slot receiver, right? And then a Terrence Marshall, who could be a guy that's a little taller like a Michael Thomas, right? So at this point, for me, the most obvious pick to me has got to be Kadarius Toney, right, or an Elijah Moore. That's going to be the most, realistic pick for me, unless Kadarius Toney goes to the Colts, and goes to a team like that, if they decide to go for a wide receiver, in that position, or the Titans go for a Kadarius Toney. So I think the Saints, they probably will go O-line or some other weird position, corner. But, based off the corners that are already off the board, you got to think. You got to get someone to pair up with Michael Thomas and obviously with Jameis Winston. At some point, you got to get some wide receiver depth. So Elijah Moore is good. Kadarius Toney is good. Terrence Marshall Jr. is good. Where do they go? It'll be interesting to see. All those guys would fit. But obviously, Michael Thomas is there. They're, in the NO. Any of these three guys could be a fit. But I think they're probably going to go corner in the first round if I had to take a guess. But, who do you go with at this point? You go with, Aaron Robinson? Melifonwu? You going to go that route? Elijah Molden? If that's where you're going to go, so at this point, it's got to be a corner, but if you don't go corner, why not go for the hometown kid? You're in the NO. Let's go Terrence Marshall for the Saints, even though Moore and Toney make more sense to me. But Marshall with that body with Michael Thomas, yes, please. Terrence Marshall Jr. to the Saints. All right. Next up, the Green Bay Packers. They need corner, D-line, offensive lineman. We're almost done. Only 3 picks left. Northwest Sports Fanatics live NFL mock draft in 2021 with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. Asante Samuel Jr., yes, absolutely. That could be a spot there too, if we want to go that route. And like I said, with the Saints, let's go back to that pick. They got to pick corner. Because the thing is that wide receiver, Terrence Marshall, looks sexy. I do like that pick. Let's go there. Let's go Asante Samuel Jr. Let's do it. All right, they need corner, right? Lattimore's probably going to be gone. Let's pick him. Asante Samuel Jr. to the Nylund Saints. I think Saints fans could be happy with that. Let's do that. All right, Amber. Let's do that. Got to make some changes. Next up, corner, Packers, D-line, offensive line, linebacker, wide receiver. If they were smart, they would give another, wide receiver to be able to pair up with Devontae Adams, right? But obviously they don't give a fuck about Aaron Rodgers. He's probably going to end up hosting Jeopardy and leaving the fucking Packers, right? So Elijah Moore would be nice, Kadarius Toney or Terrence Marshall, but will they go that route? Nope. So, Aaron Robinson, Molden, Melifonwu. There's some options there. D-line, let's take a look at the D-line prospects. Azeez Ojulari is available, but they definitely need corner as well. Azeez Ojulari would be nice. I don't know the track record there. If he would be able to go there to the Packers, but there's a chance. Jalen Phillips is pretty nice, too, on the edge for Miami. So, let's go Packers. Let's look at D-line. Let's go Azeez Ojulari. Even though they need corner. Let's go Azeez. All right, Buffalo Bills, D-line, corner, tight end, running back. They definitely need a running back. And then, like I said, if this guy's sitting there, wouldn't that be nice for the Buffalo Bills? Right? The Buffalo Bills, they need running back. I'd love for ETN to go there. That would definitely be nice. For him just sitting there and being able to get him. Javonte Williams is nice too. Michael Carter's nice. Trey Sermon's nice. They got all kinds of guys that are nice there. But the Buffalo Bills, maybe they go for an edge rusher as well. And Jalen Phillips, they need corner also. It's going to be interesting to see where they go. Let's go back to the Packers pick. Packers always fuck everything up. So let's say they go Aaron Robinson. So they go him for the Green Bay Packers. Bills, if they go for D-line, right? Or if they go corner. Maybe, Azeez Ojulari here. Or Jalen Phillips. Let's go Jalen Phillips to the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs' offensive line is going to be key, right? And I think I like this guy right here, Liam Eichenberg. There's other guys that might be better, but I like this player here on the Chiefs. This would make the most sense to me. You got to address the offensive line. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what are we going to do? Obviously, we need D-line, right? So this guy would make the most sense right here, Azeez Ojulari or, Jalen Phillips, right? Offensive line, getting some more depth there would make sense. So you can get a guy like Tevin Jenkins, or a Quinn Manners, or an Aaron Banks, or an Alex Leatherwood, right? But we don't necessarily need that. Wide receiver, obviously Elijah Moore would be there, Kadarius Toney, Terrence Marshall would be sexy, even though I got all those weapons. Quarterback, someone after, Tom Brady. So I could see, maybe them going this route, right? Going for a Davis Mills as a project guy, right? From Stanford, or maybe like a Kyle Trask, but not at this pick. Right? Especially when you can beef up at the running back position if ETN is sitting there, and some of these other guys. But, JPP is not going to be there long term. Shaq Barrett is. Ndamukong Suh will be on his way out at some point. So Shaq Barrett will be there. Levante David, Devin White, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, right? Jamel Dean, Antoine Winfield Jr. So I got to think that this makes the most logical sense. Even though I would love this player, Travis Etienne or Najee Harris, or I would love this player, Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, who could go in the first round. Terrence Marshall could go in the first round, right? Those would all be good fits, but I think the one that would be the best for me, since JPP is going to be on the way out, is depending on if Jalen Phillips was still on the board from Miami, or this guy, Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher, right? Or you can go for a Chris Rumpf, the second from Duke, or Joe Tryon from Washington. All right, but I got to go for Azeez Ojulari, so that way it gives me some depth after JPP. Yes, please. Let's add him to the slot. Bang! The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Azeez Ojulari. All right, and that's my first round. Let's do a real quick recap. So we go here. Saints need wide receiver more than anything. I definitely agree. You know what I mean? They definitely do. Asante Samuel Jr. would be good there. A wide receiver would be good. But who are they going to pick Calvin at wide receiver? They need corner, right? They can always get another wide receiver in the second round. So a lot of these guys are going to be available. Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, Terrence Marshall. You can get one of those guys, later on. But Marshall could go there too. If you want to go for a big body guy, so if you want to swipe him and go Samuel might go in the second round. So if you want to go that, let's swipe off Asante Samuel Jr., if it lets me. And then we go Terrence Marshall. But I just don't know if they would do that, though. I don't know if the Saints would do that. I mean, it looks good on paper. Terrence Marshall Jr., right? And Kadarius Toney might be gone to the Colts or Titans. Elijah Moore, it seems like more the natural fit, to me. For that team, Elijah Moore would be the more natural fit to me. That would be the one that I could see the Saints actually doing. This guy right here, Elijah Moore, going to the Saints. But you never know, what route they're going to go. They definitely need to fill some of the holes, right? They definitely need to fill some of the holes. Terrence Marshall Jr. could be that guy too. I don't know where they would go, if they go Michael Thomas or Elijah Moore. So what do we want to do? What do we want to vote on, Saints fans? I'll let you choose. What would you guys rather want? You guys want Terrence Marshall, right? Or would you rather get a corner like Asante Samuel Jr.? What do you guys want? You want Terrence Marshall Jr. in the spot? And this might affect my grade that I get overall. But, if I get a bad grade, I'll just blame it on y'all Saints fans for me getting a bad draft grade. All right, just playing. Or we can go Asante Samuel Jr., which would be another option as well. You want to go Terrence? You want to go corner with Asante Samuel Jr.? Because obviously, we know Lattimore is probably going to be gone. They're not going to be able to afford him. And at least you get another guy. Or do you want to go for a wide receiver to pair up with Michael Thomas? Just as important. Just as important. I can't see you picking Marshall either. And Toney, I think, will already be gone. I think Elijah Moore would be the more realistic pick. That he'll be there. Marshall and Toney probably won't be there at that point. Yeah, I'm going to go Samuel. I'm going to go corner because that's really what you guys need. And I think that would be a good fit for you guys. And I would pick him on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Asante Samuel Jr. So I think corner, you got to address it because Lattimore more than likely will not be there. He's going to want some insane contract, and you're going to have to keep certain guys, and you might have to let him go. So that's the overall draft. Let's take a quick look. Trevor Lawrence at 1, Zach Wilson at 2, Mac Jones, not the pick that I think he's, I think it could be Kyle Pitts. I think it could be Justin Fields, if they want to get crazy. But I think Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones, and that's the only one I don't agree with pretty much in the whole first round. But if that's what he wants, that's what he's going to get, right? And then we get Kyle Pitts. I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to go 4 either. I think someone's going to trade up to 4 and probably get a QB. Broncos, right? New England, Carolina Panthers. Someone's going to trade up for Justin Fields, in my opinion, at 4. That if he's sitting there still, especially if Mac Jones goes 3. But if that doesn't happen, then Kyle Pitts at 4 would be very smart and logical. Penei Sewell at 5 or Jamar Chase at 5. Jamar Chase at 6. Justin Fields at 7 to be able to go over, right, Jared Goff. They got to consider it, right? They got to consider it, right? But also too with you got to look at the. You got to look at the players that they have. Micah Parsons, the linebacker, could go 7, and I could think that could be very realistic. If they don't go Justin Fields right there, and it goes somewhere else, in the draft, it'll shake everything up. So it all depends, But someone's going to trade up, I think, at 4 to get Justin Fields, but I can't do trades. You know what I mean? But if he's still sitting there at 7, yes, you can go for Micah Parsons, which would make sense. But having someone to compete, obviously with Jared Goff and the Goffense could be definitely smart. So this 7 definitely could be someone other than Justin Fields. It could definitely be a Micah Parsons, I feel, at 7, because I think Detroit likes those type of guys, and they got a new coach too as well. Rashawn Slater, right? This could also be the Panthers pick, right? Or it could be Justin Fields. I could see that as well. Or it could be Trey Lance. And then Trey Lance or Justin Fields could go to the Broncos. Definitely possible. Micah Parsons, Giants, or the Detroit Lions. Surtain at Dallas. J.C. Horn on the Eagles, right, which would be the smart pick or wide receiver. Christian Darrisaw at 13. Oweh, Vikings. Devontae Smith at 15. Caleb Farley at 16. Elijah Vera Tucker at 17. Quiddy Pay at 18. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, a steal for the Washington football team. Landon Dickerson at 20. Christian Barmore at 21. But this also could be a pick, right, if they want to go for a wide receiver, right, for like an Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, or a Terrence Marshall. That could definitely be someone they could be looking at. Jalen Waddle at the Tennessee Titans at 22. Greg Newsome at 23. Najee Harris at 24 to the Steelers, right? Tyson Campbell at 25. Eric Stokes at 26. Zaven Collins at 27. Asante Samuel Jr. at 28. Aaron Robinson at 29. Jalen Phillips at 30. Liam Eichenberg, 31, offensive lineman for the Chiefs, right? And then Azeez Ojulari at 32. Now, a lot of these corners and a lot of these names that are like from 14 on, who knows what's going to happen, right? Who knows if these corners are actually going to get picked or who's going to trade up or trade back? That's kind of what I'm thinking. There's going to be a lot of movement, there. Yeah, okay, Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I mean, but I think Mac Jones, I just kind of have a weird feeling that's what it might end up being. So that's kind of what I'm breaking down to. But I appreciate everyone, with everything that they did, everyone putting in their input. I just thought this would be kind of a fun way to do something together, as far as the draft is concerned. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of other opportunities, for me to hop on and do some more draft footage. But like I said, I thought this would be something fun that we could do together and kind of give my insight on where the trades might happen and some of the players and where they might go. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I ended up doing the Kyle Pitts reaction video to the 2020 highlights. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, please do. Is there any other last minute comments or anything else that you guys would switch up, in the draft? Obviously the Mac Jones for Justin Fields or Trey Lance at 3. That's a no brainer. I only did Mac Jones because I think that's what, the head coach Kyle Shanahan's going to do. I would like Justin Fields more there at 3, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. Kyle Pitts at 4, it's possible, or 5, or 6. Penei Sewell at 4, 5, or 6. Jamar Chase at 5, 6, or 7, 8 in that range. It all depends on if people slide. But Amber M, much love. Have a good night. Surtain over Slater for Carolina. But the thing is you need offensive line though. 3-point God. And Patrick Surtain is great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could be looking at him. Obviously, Carolina could be looking at him at that position too. All right, but I think that if Justin Fields is there and Slater's there, they'd probably go one of those routes. You know what I mean? But Surtain is great, and J.C. Horn is great. Look for those corners to be studs, like stars in the league. But, everyone's going to be looking. The offensive line isn't really that deep, though. Three-point God? It really is not. I mean, if you look at the offensive linemen that are available, Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, right? And then after that, there's a pretty big drop-off. There's other guys, Elijah Vera Tucker, Darisaw. There's other guys, but, I mean, it's not the same as Slater and Penei Sewell. I think those are the two best by far on the line. And I think some people even think that, Slater is closer to Sewell than people think. So, I mean, Surtain is good, but J.C. Horn's good too. But everyone's got their own opinion, and everyone can pick at a different spot. You can pick your number one need in the first round, or you could end up doing, in the second round or in the third round, depending on where you go. Three-point God, I feel you. I know. But can you really pass on a talent like that based on shifting some of your other offensive linemen around? Some guys that can play guard can also play tackle. Remember that. Some guys can shift around. That's big facts. Northwest Sports Fanatics live NFL mock draft with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. As I adjust the screen here just a little bit so we can kind of go over the last opportunities to take a look. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and this isn't going to be right because there's going to be trades. And I can't do trades on this mock, so it doesn't give me an opportunity to do it at all. But Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, I would rather have Justin Fields there. Kyle Pitts at 4, Sewell at 5, Jamar Chase at 6. And then at 7, the Lions, I would rather have at 7, Micah Parsons. That's what I would rather, want at this point. So if, you want me to switch it around here. So if I go here, if it allows me to do that, and then if I can go Micah Parsons and I can go off him, see if I can make some adjustments here. And then if I can go, because this is the player that I think is the best fit for the Lions right here. Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater at 8. And then at that point, if Rashawn Slater is there, right, at 8, and then you don't want to go for him, maybe go for this guy. If he's still sitting there, why not? Justin Fields at 8 to the Panthers? Yeah, why not? Right? Why not have someone like that there? That would be great. Right? Trey Lance at 9. Surtain, right, at 10. And then at 11, at that point, things would get, kind of screwed up in my drafting. So I'd have to go back. And so he's got Slater available. And then let me see. Micah Parsons is already gone, so you could go Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So if I went like that, so I'm going to do some shifting around here. So if you go here, and this is just me switching shit around. These are like my next possible opportunities. So you can go that route. J.C. Horn, and then instead of Darisaw, then we go Rashawn Slater here to the Chargers. Jason Owe. Edge rusher there. That could definitely be a possibility. Devontae Smith still could be a good fit there as well at wide receiver. Let's take a quick look here as I'm going through and trying to adjust a couple picks that maybe could get, because I like Micah Parsons a lot better there. I love Justin Fields there at 8 more. You know what I mean? Trey Lance 9. There's going to be trades though. J.C. Horn, Slater, Owe, Devontae Smith, Caleb Farley. And then at this point, the Raiders could go for Christian Darisaw. That would be a better pick. Kwity Paye, they can go that route too. Or you can even go Kwity Paye, for the Vikings if you wanted to go that route. So we can swap that. Quiddy Pay from Michigan. He's nice. So, boom, you go Quiddy Pay a little bit higher. And then maybe this guy, Owe. Swap him to the Dolphins there. So you get Jamar Chase, and then you get Owe. So I made a couple adjustments here.
You still have to come back. You have to get to that second contract. Now you're here. You've made it. What advice do you have to guys who may fall in the draft for some sort of injury or other circumstance?
And then here you go, Washington football team.
Doesn't matter where you're drafted. Where you're drafted.
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Look at all the greats that
And then Landon Dickerson.
who may not
Christian Barmore
every
at 21. At 21, though, right here also, if it's not a Christian Barmore, we have to take in consideration, too. You need wide receivers. I mean, you need other positions, too, for obviously at this point. But Barmore at D-tackle would be nice. But it would be nice to be able to see someone on the Colts like an Elijah Moore or a Kadarius Toney or a Terrence Marshall. Someone to give, Carson Wentz some help, out there. They're going to need someone, and like I said, if it's not Barmore, you know what I mean? If it's not him, picking there and they end up going for like a wide receiver, that would be great. I don't know if they're going to, give him the weapons, but let's say we take out Barmore and then we insert Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, or a Terrence Marshall. So let's say the Colts go for a big body guy like a Terrence Marshall, surprise everyone. Boom, you get him. And then the Bill, let's see here, then you got, Jalen Waddle going 22. Greg Newsome, corner at 23. Najee Harris, right, at 24, which would be great.
And with regards to the culture on the offensive side of the ball, we know a lot of that runs through number 4.
Let's see here, the Jags at 25. Tyson Campbell, a corner.
Taking some steps back, throwing the ball here a couple weeks ago.
Eric Stokes, another corner. A lot of corners going off the board.
I love him as a brother. We came in together. Me, him, and Z.
Linebacker Zaven Collins at 27. But Barmore is going to go somewhere. So Barmore, we got to find a home for him. I just don't know where at the D tackle position where someone would go if he ends up sliding a little bit. But someone would probably be looking at him, somewhere in the range of
Every single thing he's gotten.
probably 19, 18. You got Darisaw, Owe, Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman for Washington, or they could go Barmore, but the offensive lineman would be definitely something they could do. Jalen Waddle, Newsome, Najee Harris. Campbell's a corner. Stokes is a corner, right? Asante Samuel Jr. is a corner. Zaven Collins is a linebacker, So we're not really talking about a D tackle yet. Aaron Robinson is a corner. Edge rusher, Jalen Phillips. Liam Eichenberg. I like him for the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, you got to be able to replace Eric Fisher. You got to be able to replace Mitchell Schwartz. You got, Kyle Long to get out of retirement. He said, fuck the Bears, right? And he came to Kansas City, but you're going to need more, right? And then I need a pass rusher. So Azeez Ojulari would be good, right? But what happens if Christian Barmore is still sitting on the board for my Buccaneers? If I can add someone like that, a Christian Barmore to the team, him or Azeez Ojulari, either a D lineman or an edge rusher. I need somebody to replace JPP, but also someone to replace Ndamukong Suh. All right, I'm going to have Vita Vea on one side, but if I get Christian Barmore on the other and he's still sitting there, 6'4" from Bama, shit, that could be special. All right? That could be special. Or we can go for Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher from Georgia. Either one, would be good. But I need edge rusher. I'm going to end up needing depth at corner. I would want a running back, too. And then if we went this route right here, hey, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Travis Etienne. Yeah, yes, please. I got Rojo, right? I got some pieces there. Giovanni Bernard, right? But it ended up getting a Travis Etienne or a Javonte Williams or a Michael Carter. Those would be great. Or a Christian Barmore. Or an Azeez Ojulari. Or a player that I would absolutely love to have on my team right here. Asante Samuel Jr. We already saw, what I got from, the safety, my boy. When you get these juniors, it's amazing. Carlton Davis was good for me. Sean Murphy-Bunting, Jamel Dean, Antoine Winfield Jr., right, on the back end, and pair him up with Asante Samuel Jr.? Come on. That would be crazy. I would love for him to join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no cap. I would love, love, love for that to happen. So if we went like this and then said, Asante Samuel Jr., get off the Saints, come to a real team. Come to a real team in Tampa Bay. Oh, shit. I went too far. I went too far. I went to a wrong screen. Got too excited. The Saints end up getting, let's go Elijah Moore. All right, you go to the Saints, Elijah Moore. And then Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. Give me this guy right here. Give me this guy right here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Asante Samuel Jr. I'd love that too. So it really depends on where they're going to go. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of opportunities as well, as you're going over these numbers. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, even though I don't like that pick, obviously I think that's where Kyle Shanahan's head is. I hope that they can get off it and they go Justin Fields. This is what I really hope happens, right? Mac Jones, bye, right? Justin Fields, bye. Right, and then boom, San Francisco 49ers select. This would be like the only pick that would probably make the Niners happy if it wasn't Kyle Pitts. Right, Justin Fields, but it doesn't look right to me. When I see Niners and Fields, I don't know. And I think Mac Jones would slide, quite a bit. And then, if you went like that, and then if that happened, then Panthers are like, Mac Jones, fuck no. Then they're like, okay, Panthers will be like, oh, maybe Trey Lance, right? So then we can add him there. And then Broncos, if you want to go Mac Jones, if you want to go like that. So if you want to go Trevor Lawrence, and then you want to go Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. But Mac Jones on the Broncos looks weird to me. I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean? I just don't see that scenario happening. And I'm going to feel for Niner fans if they don't get Justin Fields or Kyle Pitts, but maybe it'll work out with Mac Jones. Maybe it will work out with Mac Jones. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it will. I mean, best case scenario for Bronco fans, if Panthers go like this, Panthers go, okay, we'll take Trey Lance. Broncos are like, yeah, baby, Justin Fields. They would just lose their fucking shit. If Justin Fields ends up being a Bronco, they would lose their goddamn minds. That would be best case scenario for the Broncos. Not trading up at all and not giving up any draft capital, and you end up getting Justin Fields. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there, but Surtain, that's a lock. I mean, that's got to be him or J.C. Horn. You could swap those guys. Owosu Koromoa. I mean, the Giants have so many options there. I like Micah Parsons and Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa are the two best linebackers in the draft, right? And then you got Patrick Surtain, right? And J.C. Horn are the best two corners. Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell are the best offensive linemen. Quiddy Pay for Michigan should be nice. Devontae Smith should be good. Caleb Farley at corner. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Once it get past like 16, there's other options that they can go, depending on if they want to get wide receiver or corner. And this isn't going to be right. But, Najee Harris going to the Steelers, that could be great. But Asante Samuel Jr. for Tampa Bay for me would be amazing. I would not be mad at that. ETN, right? If we went this route and got ETN for Tampa, yeah, I would love that. You know what I mean? But it's got to be a D tackle, a D end, a corner, you know what I mean, or a running back. That would be ideal for me. But ETN would be magical, right? ETN would be magical. And obviously getting a pass rusher like Azeez Ojulari would be great. So that way I got the JPP replacement too. But anything can happen. I mean, this is why we love the NFL draft, and I'll be doing more of these. I'll probably be doing a couple more, maybe, depending on what I have for time. But I did the Kyle Pitts video earlier. This one is about 2 hours long, and then obviously I did the reaction video, and I already worked a full 8-9 hour day on top of that. So I just wanted to show my love and my dedication to you guys, the fans. Shout out to all the donations and all the people that hopped in and smashed the like button. And I hope you guys like the format. I tried to do something different with the green screen, something that I've never done before. I'm always changing it up with the different effects and the different looks, for NCAA championship game for college basketball, to my MLB look, to what NFL looks like for live streams, as well as reaction videos. I'm always going to be working hard, and I'm going to be investing in some more software to make the thumbnails look better too. So I'm excited for that. Maybe you can see this ugly mug, and then you can have like an NFL stadium in the background so you can see me, obviously on the thumbnail, posed up, right? And then we can have that on there, and that'll probably get some more views so that they can see who's on there. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best fans on planet Earth. Thank you so much for your input and hanging out with me today. You guys are the best fans on fucking planet Earth, and that is big facts. Let me look to see where the chat is because I had it covered up and I didn't get to see it. So let me acknowledge some of y'all that are still in the room. Let's take a quick look here. All right, 3-point God in the building. Calvin Griffin in the building. Let's see here. Amber in the building. Calvin Griffin did the building. Appreciate you guys. I love this format. Keep it up, Ryan. Well, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Be safe out there. Tomorrow's Friday. And like I said, we're getting closer and closer to the weekend. We're only about 7 or 8 days away from the draft. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. Yeah, 4 running backs for Tampa. Well, you know what? But if ETN is sitting there, you got to think, Rojo might not be there long term, right? Rojo might not be there long term. And then you got Giovanni Bernard, 1-year deal. If we can get another guy, to give me a little bit more depth, 4 horsemen like the Eagles had, why not? You know what I mean? We'll have to wait and see. But again, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And like I said, I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Enjoy the rest of your night. Check out my Kyle Pitts reaction video to his 2020 highlights. Be safe, and I'll probably be back tomorrow. Peace.